So Ozan, what should my podcast be about?
Today,
Yeah.
the midterm elections and
No.
bread.
Oh no. Ask and you shall receive. This week's episode is now about midterm elections and bread. Currently, it's voting day for the midterm elections in the middle of Joe Biden's first term as president of America. And I gotta say, I'm being a bad citizen today. I'm not doing my civic duty. I am not voting today. And I kind of feel bad about it on some ways, but in other ways, I don't really care. And I probably should care, though. That's the thing. I feel like midterm elections, they're quite obviously not the main election. Presidential election comes first, but I never really understood midterm elections growing up. I never really got why they existed or even really knew they existed for a while. But in reality, they're probably maybe the more important election because you vote again on representatives and senators, and they're the people that really kind of control America. It seems like they're really in the driving seat. It really, to me, as I've gotten older, it seems like the president is really kind of just a placeholder. President doesn't really do much, doesn't really contribute an insane amount to the ongoing agenda or legislation or flow of America, you know? They're kind of just there as a person to shake hands with other world leaders. They don't really do much. So these midterm elections are actually very important. So I'm really dropping the ball here by not voting. I'm being a bad young person. I'm being a stereotypical young person by not voting. So midterm elections, Ozan, how do we feel about midterm elections?
I haven't been keeping track, but it looks like the Republican Party is gonna win the House, or at least take more seats and have a majority in the House.
Did you bet on the over or under for Republican Party?
I didn't.
Did you bet on them to cover the spread in the midterm election?
No, I didn't have a spread.
There should be betting odds on elections, I feel like.
There are.
There are? Okay, I feel like there should be. That's something that
There's
should
a
be.
whole
That should
market on
exist.
it. There's a website where I actually do that.
DraftKings?
Close.
MGM Sportsbook? Do you know, I did a little bit of research for this episode. Did you know that when like a senator dies in office, that the governor of whatever state just gets to appoint a new person?
It's almost like a cabinet seat, yeah.
Like, and this
branch.
is not how life works, but in some ways, if a party was like, if the world was really this bad, party members could just die, and then they could just personally appoint whoever they want to go into that position. It's almost like bypassing the whole election system. I feel like that's like kind of cheating in a way, but also how often do people die in office?
You have to bet, yeah.
Kind of wish some people would die in office, but it's okay. You know, life goes on. Theirs a little too long, but life goes on. Any other thoughts about elections?
Representatives in the House need term limits. I think it's fucking stupid.
That's
how
a
there's no term
fact.
limit. That's the only thing that I really have like sharp judgment on.
Yeah.
With our
Why are there not term limits? People can just stay in office.
It's
The
ridiculous.
president only gets to stay in office for 2 terms, but then they get the same for life.
There's representatives that have been in there for more than 4 out of 5 terms, and they've gotten to the age to where they're so irrelevantly, like, not coherent with the population that they're actually being voted by.
Yeah.
But it's also the consequence of people just siding with like a party for life and not like changing anything about their ideology
And
at
you
all.
know, yeah.
It's like that's the if you're complaining about your like
It's like it kind of goes back to sports teams almost. You grow up in a sports team or a political party, and then you just ride or die with them until the end of time.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes sense when you think about why it happened. The president has a term limit, but the people that actually make the real decisions and determine legislation and things like that don't have term limits. I wonder who made those rules. Probably the people that don't have term limits and that control the decisions, right? Or am I crazy?
I don't specifically know. I don't know.
I feel like that's probably a true thing, though. The people that want to stay in power then just define their own term limits and then
Well, all the
they do
laws
whatever
are
they want.
signed.
Yeah, but the election's going on. I didn't vote, so I feel like a bad citizen. Did you vote? So it was on voting because he's a good citizen.
Really valid.
Well,
I had to anyway because I'm not driving 8 hours.
that's true.
For like just regular voting.
That's true. Sleepy Joe needs to get it together, though. Elections are weird. Now let's talk about bread. Or now, give me 1 minute, 2 minutes of your time.
No, I can't.
This man doesn't want to talk about bread. He'd rather go prepare for a meeting. What is he doing? What's your favorite kind of bread?
I like sourdough a lot.
Sourdough? Have you ever
Sourdough.
made bread before?
No. Well, yes, but no.
Yes, but no.
I haven't made it here, and I haven't made sourdough, which is
So
my
you made
favorite.
bread.
But I've made like very, very amateur level bread. Yes.
Where and when?
My mom's house.
When? Like growing up or?
Oh yeah, it was like I think the last time I did it was like 2018. Oh no, last time I made bread was at AV. I made ciabatta bread.
Oh really?
Or not ciabatta. What the fuck am I talking about? Focaccia.
Ciabatta.
Focaccia. Yeah. Which is awesome. You like stick cloves of garlic everywhere. You get to knead it with your hand. You put little dimples, and then you put olive oil on those dimples, and then they become crunchy. And you put rosemary too. It's great. It's great with soups too.
This man's a whole chef.
But then you have to make the soup, and that's more work, and you don't want that. Also, it fills your house up with like the smell of whatever you put into it as an ingredient.
Did you know there's at least more than 100 types of bread in the world?
I would not doubt that. Yeah.
It's a lot of bread.
If there's more than 20,000 species
I feel like you can
of fish, there's at least 100 slices of bread that are different from each other.
I feel like you can kind of just make up kinds of bread though. You just make bread and then throw Skittles in it. Skittles bread. Like you
Someone probably made it.
I don't know. It would have been good to do this, talk about bread, and then make bread in the podcast, but I don't have those kind of skills. I'm a big fan of bread though. Growing up, we only ever had whole wheat. So now when I go to restaurants and stuff, like when I go to Subway, I get whole wheat bread.
Whole wheat, yeah.
Because my mom instilled that in me as a kid. Because we didn't have white bread because...
I've never even really been a fan of white bread, just because it's like, I don't know, it doesn't have any structure too. Like you have to toast
really
it.
squishy,
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like it's good for like just like basic like sandwiches, like ham and cheeses, peanut butter,
Yeah, exactly.
jelly.
PB&J.
That's kind of it though.
But how did you how have you progressed your cutting of your sandwiches?
Well, I was always, if I would make a sandwich, I kind of went with the whole route. I didn't cut it in half. Quarter triangles is cool.
Mhm.
That's like the cool route.
Yeah.
But typically always just in half. That's my mom, and right down the middle.
When I was a little bitch boy child, I cut all the edges off.
You cut the edges off?
But that was only on Nutella sandwiches, and then PB&J's, I just kept it whole. And then after that, I just never cut it. Because I grew up.
Grew up, big man
Grow
now.
up, like actually grow up.
Yeah, for like grow up.
Just grow. Everyone watching, grow up.
Yeah, if you cut the crust on your sandwiches, just freaking grow up,
Just
bro.
grow up. What are you, childish?
Yeah. You know, there was a time when I wanted to cut the edge off my bread, but my mom never let me. Because I had to eat that whole bread. I would just tear it off anyways. But
It doesn't even taste bad. That's what.
no,
I don't know why we did it.
Just didn't like it because it was different. I think it
I
wasn't
guess
as
we're
squishy.
just such childish, like.
It looks brown. It's like a
yeah,
heel.
exactly.
It's like a skin layer. Ew.
Like the same idea with like.
What's your favorite way to use bread? Toast.
No,
Sandwiches.
dip as a dip.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say as a
I
dip
love
as well,
dipping.
but then I just think of like a grilled cheese and like tomato basil
Oh
soup.
fuck! Actually,
But that's
yeah,
just like with
no.
cheese on it. It's not quite bread.
The thing is, but there's a substitute for grilled cheese, which is just like a cheese quesadilla. So you could just like do that instead if that was.
Yeah, that's true. Tortillas are technically bread, right? 11 bread, kind of.
Yeah, I guess you could. I would consider because you use the same ingredients,
Yeah.
flour and water, and then you just put like a type of fat in it.
I think bread is best used as like a shipment for food into your mouth.
Delivery system.
Yeah, carrying
They're the Amazon
mac
of
and
the food
cheese
items.
or spaghetti or.
I like.
Literally, we had steaks last night. And we used it to soak up the juices.
I like having it with like pita bread with like Greek yogurt.
Mm.
It's a little weird, but it's just like not a pet peeve.
Comfort food, kind of.
A niche food. I don't know what the term is that I'm trying to remember.
An ozonism.
Yeah, I guess so.
There you go.
Let's go with that.
What kind of bread did you have growing up? Like wheat bread, like me, or what did your mom get?
We always got. There was this brand. It's like farm to market, and then it's a rosemary sourdough. I think.
Oh, so that's why you like sourdough? Did you
Yeah, I
just
kind
add
of grew up with
sourdough
it.
growing
Like
up?
throughout middle school and high
Mhm.
school, that's the one that we usually got, and then sometimes Wonder Bread, like white bread.
Yeah.
We just got it like if we needed it for certain
Mhm.
things, but we also use that to like make breadcrumbs for like soups.
Ah, so you get
Yeah.
bread, do it using different ways.
Mhm, yeah. But I don't know. I've never been into like.
Pumpernickel.
Yeah, I was literally about to say that. Yeah.
Whenever, if you ask me what's a gross kind of bread, I'll say.
Oh,
I'll just say pumpernickel. I don't even know if I've ever actually
The
eaten
ones
pumpernickel bread though.
with like raisins in them.
Oh,
I
God.
hate that type of bread.
Oh God.
Like, why do people add raisins to anything? Period.
I don't know.
Like, there's rice dishes with like raisins in it.
it's just like, oh God, you think you add sweetness to the rice, that's savory. It's like, okay, no. Just if you want something savory, have savory. You can't mix two worlds together.
Yeah, it's weird taking a sweet thing and making it savory.
I can't. I don't know. Those people should be.
It's like that kind of bread's like meatloaf.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? What are we doing?
I've only had meatloaf once in my life.
Meatloaf is kind of a cousin of bread. I'm realizing as I'm saying.
I mean, you use a crap ton of bread.
You already swore.
Yeah, I know. A crap ton of breadcrumbs in it. So.
Meatloaf. Gross. In terms of like the names of food, meatloaf might be one of the worst.
Well, yeah, it's
the word loaf does not sound delicious.
No, because it just assumes that it's
especially one made
a combination
of
anything.
Jeez.
Oh wait, no, fruit. What is like fruit cake? But there's also fruit.
Yeah,
bread.
what is it called?
Those?
Yeah, what's it? Veggie? No. What's it called?
Oh, what here?
Fruit. It's not fruit bread. Oh God, what is it called?
I think it is fruit bread.
Well, fruit bread.
It's so, like, why? Yeah, 5 stars, my ass.
Like, why does this...
Oh, and what about other breads?
This looks like Skittle
That
bread.
are a combination of...
This looks like Skittle bread.
What about, like, pumpkin bread? And, like, banana
Banana bread is...
I've never been a fan of banana, so I've never gotten too much into it, but, like, pumpkin bread with dark chocolate drizzles and chocolate chips inside,
I think
best
like
thing ever.
every kind of, not every kind, but most kinds of like that mixed bread or whatever you want to call it are good.
They're
the,
so,
the
like,
moisture it brings,
I
you get country, I don't know if you know country crock butter, it's like the brown container.
Yeah.
That's what we had growing up. That on some banana bread is maybe the best food ever made.
What about, like, lemon bread? I guess a lemon loaf, but is that a cake?
Well, what's
No,
the
it's
difference between, well, let's Google it. What's the difference between
Yeah,
cake and
true.
bread?
I would say a lemon loaf isn't a cake because you don't use, like, cake batter in it. Or at least I haven't when I've made it.
The difference between cake and bread is that cake is a sweeter, more delicious, and contains much more calories than bread. Cakes are leavened using baking soda, while bread is leavened using yeast.
Yeah.
Cakes are prepared using a lot of ingredients to make them, while bread is prepared chiefly with flour.
Mm.
So it's really the complexity of the ingredients and the outcome.
There's a lot more eggs, butter, and sugar. And well, I mean, you don't really
Vanilla,
add
chocolate,
sugar.
you can spice it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Never hear of like chocolate bread or like vanilla bread. It's
Like a chocolate loaf. No, I've never had. I will. Oh, what about like bagels? Are we considering those like bread products?
that's in the bread family for sure.
Yeah, it's the second cousin.
Well, it's been 8 minutes. We've talked about bread for 8 minutes. You should go prepare for a meeting probably.
Yeah. What's that? It's been good, folks.
Okay, well, he is the man that gave me the idea for this episode. And that's kind of this episode. My dad said I should change the title of this to just Riffin'. Not going to do that, but that's kind of what this podcast has become.
Riffaroni.
Yeah, Midterms and Bread. A very good title. Okay, that's been all for this week's episode of the Procrastinate Podcast. I have been your host, Matthew B. Stein. You've been fantastic as always. And I'll see you guys in next week's episode. Keep it real. Do what you do. Ball is life. I don't know. Bye.